whenever we have a load on the vehicle.
Yes. Which rules should we obey?
The load shouldn't obstruct the driver's view.
Amazing. Yes. The first one, the load shouldn't obstruct your view. You should see clearly. We are talking about both the rear view mirrors and blind rights, right? Okay, yes. What's next? Ken, continue. Yes, Tapelo, I'll come to you.
Oh yes. Um, I I know there's one of the load. I can't remember exactly how it is, but there should be a red flag on it. I think if it's exceeding a certain distance. I'm not too sure. I'm not too
Why?
sure on that one.
Why are you not sure? But it's nice because you know that it's around that. All right.
I kind
Let's
of forgot.
let's hear Tapelo then.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's hear Tapelo. I think Tapelo is gonna add up.
No, the only one that I wanted to add is that the load that you are busy transporting,
Yeah.
it should not come in contact with the surface of the road.
Amazing, right? Amazing, fantastic. So the load shouldn't touch the surface, shouldn't touch that tar road, shouldn't touch that gravel road or whatever surface, right? So amazing. That's those are the first. Normally, when we deal with this section, I call them basics. Those are the basic rules under this. Whenever we carry load, the load shouldn't touch the surface. It shouldn't obstruct the view for a driver. Both those two. All right. Yeah. Um. Let's see. Leo, what are the other ones?
Okay. On the red flag, if the vehicle is more, if the load is more than 150 meters, uh, you you must put a red flag. Huh?
Ah, who said that? If the vehicle is more than
Over,
150 meter, you should put.
over.
Yeah.
Mm,
Yeah.
in- okay, if over 150 meters,
And let's start with this. It's a
maybe.
millimeter. You know a meter, Mus.
Yeah.
You know how big a meter is. We can't talk about meters,
Yeah.
eh? 150 meter.
Or
That's a bit. So it's millimeter, eh?
millimeter.
So 150 millimeter,
Yes.
yeah.
Uh,
Which
we
direction?
must put
Is it in the front, the back?
on the at the sides.
Yeah. On the sides? Yeah.
Yes. And then let's say at the front
Let's put it right.
we
Let's put it
can't.
right. Let's put it right, right? Because you need that
Okay,
part falls under I'm a projections,
markings.
right? It falls. We are talking about loads, but which section where we talk about projection? What are projections? Overlapping of the load, right? When the load
Yeah.
it it overlaps, we know that a vehicle is of a certain size, right? But if it overlaps or protrude, it has that overlapping. The load is now overlapping. How much can it overlap? What are the rules there? So it's this rule is based on that, on the overlapping of the load. So we say if it from the overlapping of 150 millimeter aside in it becomes now compulsory for you to do what? To put
Put a
a
red.
red flag, right?
Yes.
If it's
During
less
the
than
day.
that, if the overlapping it's just 100 millimeter, it's not that, right? It's not compulsory for you to put a red flag. But from 150 millimeter and above, you must put a red flag. Now, follow up question: where do we put this red flag, Leo?
Um, like during the day.
Where? Not when. Where? Where do we put it?
At the back.
At the back of the load. Chris, Utini, where do we put it?
On the rear side.
Yeah, on the rear side. You're still saying the same thing. Rear, back is the same. Zanele, where do we put it?
Can you repeat the question, Mr. Z?
When a load
I don't know.
projects on the site, right? It projects more than 150 millimeter, right? It becomes compulsory now that you must put a red flag. The question is, where do we put it?
At the back of the car, 45 meters from
Ah,
45.
and Sugid.
Not that.
Then, where do we put it?
On the load.
Yes, on the load, but where?
Isn't the load, if it's most exceeding 150 millimeters, it's on the sides, right?
Yes.
So the red flag should be on the side of the load.
No. Okay. We always put these markings on the corners of the load, right? On the corners where the projection is, right? On the corners though.
Okay.
So just because a load is projecting on the left doesn't mean I'm putting it on. I'm putting it at the corner, at each corner of the load. We put those
Okay.
flags. I don't know if I'm clear there.
I just want to confirm these loads that are being projected on the car. Can you please give me an example of what type of loads? Because it doesn't make sense to me.
All right, let's just say you have a bag, Chris, or you have you guys are doing what, surfing, right? That board for surfing, right? Let's just say you decide to put it there on top of your light motor vehicle, right? Let's just say you put it there. But now the size of the car, it's let's just say is 2 meters, ne? Making an example, like the wideness of it. Let's say it's 2 meters. When that surfing board, it's in term is 2.2, right? You see it's overlapping, right? It will be overlapping either side. It will protrude, right, on the sides. I will find it because we are talking about the side.
On the sides.
Yes. So the car is 2 meters long in terms of wideness. It's 2 meters. When your board is 2.2, right? So it will be
Okay.
It will be overlapping with 0.2 meters. What's 0.2 meters? You will find that it's 200 millimeter, if I'm not mistaken, something like that, right? If you take it to millimeters.
Yeah.
So it's overlapping with that on the sides. Now the rules are saying, as soon as our load, whatever that we are carrying, it's more than the distance of the overlap, it's more than 150 millimeter on the side. We need now to start putting a marking in it. That's where we put the red flag. And we put
Okay, I see.
Guys, is this thing making sense for this?
Yes.
Chris, it's fine. You're okay now.
So you're putting it like horizontally. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I was making an example with a horizontal. If you decided to put that board of yours in a horizontal.
Okay. Okay, I
you
see.
don't have to put it like that.
I see.
The next rule, again, it will tell us about vertical, right? So this one, we were talking about horizontal. Now, in the following one is still telling us if we are overlapping, but in the horizontal, in the vertical manner. What's Tapelo? Tapelo, what's that distance there? From what distance, if we are talking about the back or the rear, the rear of the vehicle. Tapelo?
Yes, sir.
Mm.
The distance.
Yes. You are the one who gave me
Um,
150 meters on the side. Was it you or is it Leo?
it wasn't me. It was Leo, if I'm not
Leo?
mistaken.
Yes.
Yeah. So that was the side. Now let's talk about the back. 150 on the side. We need to put a red flag if it's during the day. We now know. If it's at night, we put a reflector, right? We'll talk about reflectors next. But right now, I just want us to talk about the reflect, meaning it's during the day. How about the back? How much? From what
At the
distance?
back, from 300 millimeter.
300 millimeter, right? Chris Boaz, right? From 300 millimeter. If we're talking about the RAM, you do the same thing, right? You put that red flag. Jen, we fine?
Yes.
All right. So yeah, if it's at night, we use reflectors. If it's at night, we use reflectors. Leo, can you tell us about those reflectors?
It's at night, we should at the back we should put a red reflectors
Correct.
at the back.
Red reflectors for the back, yes.
Uh, at the, at the front, we should put the white reflectors.
White reflectors, yes.
Yes. And
How
on
about
the
the sides?
sides are yellow reflectors.
Amazing.
Yellow reflectors.
Amazing. Yeah. Oh, amazing, guys. My emojis. Yeah, right. So yeah, those were the rules when a load exceeds a certain amount or it overlaps a certain amount. Now let's talk about the maximum, right? This was the minimum. From here you need to put a red flag, Magwenzeke. So what is the maximum overlapping distance that I can't pass? I'm not allowed to put a load that overlaps more than this. Tapelo, let's hear those projection limits. Tapelo, corner. Let me check on themes. Who are we having here? Zanel. Remember, guys, we are still talking about the rules, Sama loads, right? Still just focusing on the loads. Now we want to know the limits. A load is not allowed to project or protrude or overlap more than what? Zanele? Yeah?
I'm not sure. I don't
You didn't cover that part.
know.
Chris?
Yes, sir.
Mm-hmm.
Pambili, in the front, it's 300 millimeters. Emuva,
Chris,
it's 1.8.
your voice there. Anguzwa kahle yazi. Are you far from your speaker there? Your mic?
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Pambili, you said maximum, I get.
Yeah. We want ama limits, yes, maximum.
Pambili is 300 Pambili, yes.
300 what meters?
Milli, yes.
Yeah, millimeters, right? So a load is
Yes.
not allowed to project more than 300 millimeters in the front. That's correct. Yes.
Emuva, it's 1.8. I'm
At
not
the back,
mistaken,
it's one.
meters.
At the back, it's 1.8 meters. Correct. Continue.
On the side is 150 milliliters. Millimeters.
Yangsuke. How can you remember when we were talking about towing? Remember when we were talking about towing? I think it was yesterday or what, right? So what you are
Yes.
doing when you are making. Remember we spoke, Sati, the maximum towing distance is 3.5 meters. And then
Yes.
Sati from 1.8 meters, you must put a red flag, right? Where now what we are making 1.8 be equals to 3.5. The marking, it says from here you put this flag from here, but it means you are still allowed to overlap more than this, but you must have this marking. So don't make the two zilingani. We just want to know the maximum. A sighting. Tapelo. Projection. Maximum projection on the site.
On the side, I am not sure, but because I also had 150 millimeters, because the one that I'm sure about, it has been mentioned that at the end, in the front end, it has to be 300. Then on the rear end is 1.8, but then on the side, this is where I'm not sure.
So you see, guys, why we have these live sessions. Do you see why these lives are important? If you go and write with these so many, and I'm not sure, we are gambulisha, a gambling. Ken, I'll see you when. It's your turn.
On the sides for less than 12,000, it's 2.5.
For
Less than 12,000 kg, it's 2.5 meters.
what are you measuring there? Are you measuring the load or what are you measuring?
The overlapping load distance.
No, I'm saying you are telling us about the mass now. You are saying if the mass is less than 12,000 kg, what are you measuring? Are you measuring the mass of the load or what?
No, it's a measurable vehicle.
Correct. Right. So if the vehicle weighs less than 12,000 kg, and then you said what? The maximum projection on the site is what?
2.5
2.5. What meters, millimeter?
meters.
Meters, correct. Guys, you heard that, right? So how about if the vehicle weighs more than that? If the vehicle weighs more than 12,000 kg, then what would be the limit?
2.6.
2.6. Amazing. Guys, nearly number flowers, yeah? Right? So on the sides, that's what's happening. We have that. We have a 2.5 and a 2.6 meters, and then he told you if the vehicle, it depends on the mass of the vehicle, right? Now, yes, Ken, going high now, like in terms of height now. What's the limit then? Does it matter?
Yes,
Okay.
but it also depends on the mass. Also,
A mass of what?
for of the vehicle.
Okay.
If it's a light motor vehicle, then it shouldn't be more than half of the vehicle.
Yes.
And for a heavy motor vehicle, it shouldn't exceed 4.3 meters.
Amazing, right? So if it's a light motor vehicle, the height of the load shouldn't exceed half the vehicle's height, right? So different vehicles, they have different height, but when we say half, we say half of that vehicle. It doesn't matter whatever it is, right? Half of it. So your load shouldn't be more than half. There's an exception, by the way, Ken. There's an exception there. Unless it's what? What's the exception?
Between the vehicles.
No, I'm saying there's an exception for certain loads. There are few loads that are allowed to exceed the mass, the height of the half of the height of the vehicle, right? So this restriction applied to most of the loads, but there's like these few ones. Do you know which one?
I'm not too sure about it. Nope, I'm not too
Leon.
sure.
Right.
Yes.
If it is more, um, it should be 4.3 meters.
If it's more what?
Um, the if low load or vehicle layer like ama-good vehicles are going angithi yisi la ethi going up.
Yes.
Yeah, a vehicle it's allowed to carry goods from 4.3 meters.
Uh, yeah, I agree with you. Kian, Kian did an amazing work there. He already told us
Oh, yeah.
that for light motor vehicle, it shouldn't exceed half the vehicle's height, and then he said for heavy motor vehicles, it shouldn't exceed 4.3 meters. That was amazing. And then I went back and said the first one where he's talking about light motor vehicles, saying that it shouldn't exceed half of the vehicle's height. I was like, unless what? Unless what? There's an exception there. Unless what you are carrying what type of load?
Goods vehicle ama-goods
The load. Oh, they are all codes. My
goods.
codes, the loads
Oui.
means you can either use the word load or use goods. It you choose, right? But we are talking about the same thing there. All right, let me help you with that one. Unless I'm having my bicycle, right? You might sometimes see a light motor vehicle having a bicycle that is positioned upright, right? And the bicycle, you find that the height there, it's more than what? Half of the vehicle. But that's allowed. You can put your bicycle like that, upright on top of a light motor vehicle, So on my bikes, you can do that. If the load is a bike, right? But other than that, the other loads, nope. Are we together? Ken, are we fine?
Yes, yes.
All right, let's move on. So that was about, we spoke about the marking, spoke about the limits. And that's it about the loads, right? So we spoke about the projection limits, we spoke about the marking, and yeah, we spoke about these two, right? The basic ones, that you can't carry a load if it's touching the surface or it's obstructing the driver's view. That's it. You know that, and then now you are fine under that section, Yamalud. Let's continue. And look at the next one. Zanele. Zanele Kona.
I don't know what my network is doing. I didn't get the question yesterday.
Yeah, I
I'm
didn't
trouble.
ask you the question. No problem. No, I was just checking whether you are there before I ask. So here's the question, right? The vehicles that are on the road, we have a standard measurement for them. They must fall under this in terms of height, in terms of length, So yeah, tell us about the rules on that, right? Those standard measurements. If they exceed these standards, we call them abnormal vehicles, right? We call them abnormal vehicles, but as long they are under these normal vehicles, because they are within our standard measurements. Let's hear. What are the rules there?
Okay, I think the length is 4.5
4.5
for length.
for length. For
Yes,
which type of a vehicle?
because something large motor.
Zanelo, you are guessing.
No,
Where are you getting the 4.5?
I did study this one, and I also saw the signs, but I'm not sure like which car were they talking about. I know it's 4.5.
Now young again.
I
Chris,
promise you it's
4.5.
yes, and then the white is 2.5,
Yeah.
and I don't know what's 1.8. Whether the what did they say about 1.8? But it's three. I did there's three I took note of. That 4.5, the 2.5, and the 1.8.
4.5, 1.5. Oh, it's you do. Hey, all right. Let me continue. Chris, Chris,
What was the question again, Mister? Can you please repeat the question again?
the question was, on the road we have vehicles, right? And these vehicles, we have a standard measurement for the height and the length. Yabo? They must fall under this range. So maximum a vehicle should be this long or this. It should have this height maximum. What are those? Can you tell us about those standard measurements? Because any vehicle that exceeds this, it's abnormal. It's an abnormal vehicle. Athi Namaru.
Okay. Things are. If it has less than 12,000
Yeah.
kilograms, it shall not exceed or be more than 8 meters.
Yeah.
Khuluma nge-length manje.
Yes, length. Yes. Yeah. Exactly.
If the GVM is less than 12,000, then it should not exceed 8 meters.
It should not exceed 8 meters. What type of a vehicle are we talking about? By the way, it's correct that length. I just want to know which type of a vehicle are we talking about.
I'm not sure.
We're talking about a trailer, all right? So,
Yes.
of if the trailer weighs less than 12,000 kg, then that trailer, in terms of length, it shouldn't be more than what? 8 meters. That was correct. Continue.
Then if it's more than 12,000 kg, the trailer, then it should not exceed 12.5.
Yes. By the way, guys, I hope you know why a trailer is a vehicle, right? Anything that has a license disc of its own, eh? If it's moving and then it has a license disc of its own, it's what? It's a vehicle, right? It's considered as a vehicle. All right, yeah, continue.
Then combined.
So you said sorry to disturb. You said if it weighs more than 12,000 kg, the restriction there in terms of length for the trailer, it was what?
12.5.
12.5 meters, correct.
Then a car.
Yes.
A car. It should not exceed 18.5.
18.5 meters.
Yeah. Yes.
No? Jen, what?
What did you say? Yes.
Hmm? Chris, you have a question?
Yes, I wanted to ask for me to say yes. What did you say?
Oh, there we are talking about articulated vehicles, right? Articulated vehicles, nama semi trailers. They fall under that.
Okay.
Articulated vehicles and semi trailers. So this tells you the first two that we're talking about, a semi trailer is not included there, right? We are not talking about a semi trailer. But this one of a car, it was a nice one. Kian, what do you think? If we are talking about a car, any car must not exceed which length?
If it's a 3.5 kg car, I mean 3,500 kg car, if it's less than 3,500, then it should not exceed 12.5 meters.
12.5 meters. Correct. Correct. Cars, they fall there. They go with what? With that trailer when a Chris? With the trailer that weighs more than 12,000. Remember, you mentioned 12.5 there, right?
Yes, yes.
So under that, that's where the cars fall under. Yes. Yeah. What are the other ones, Ken? Continue.
If it's more than 3,500 kgs, then it shouldn't exceed 22 meters
It shouldn't
in length.
yeah. What types of cars are those?
Normal car.
Nope. Normally it's on the 12.5, right? So there normally we are talking about combined.
Oh,
So those are combined vehicles. Should we decide to join those vehicles, you know, yeah, they shouldn't exceed that. All right. So is it only combined vehicles there on that 22 meters? What's another example of a combined vehicle that falls there?
isn't it those, no, I don't, I would say those buses that are connected.
Yes, that's correct. Bus trains. Bus trains, they fall under that, right? Those buses that are joined together that have whatever it is there, right? So yeah, those were the rules there. I think our minutes are finished. Guys, we're gonna have a second session because today we are wrapping up, right? So I'm gonna send the new meeting, join in that, and let's continue with this thing. Let's wrap it up with the rules that are remaining. All right.
Master Lee, just quickly before you start,
Okay.
I wanted to mention something too.
All right. I'm
Um,
listening.
today I went to go write my test.
Sorry.
Today I went to go write my test, my
Yeah.
first test.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was quite a bit it was a bit, how can I say, I was a bit rushed because I wasn't aware that you're supposed to take an eye test before the test.
All right. Yeah.
So it cut out a lot of my time and I had to run up and down.
Okay.
But nevertheless, I went to go write the test and I got my results after.
Sorry.
I missed it by 1 mark.
You missed what?
I said I went I went to go write the test and I came across similar questions. Most of them were similar, and I missed the pass by 1 mark
On which section?
on the rules.
Yeah. My advice is what, guys. All right. So prepare in a way that um it's like you try to get a 100% on each section, right? There's a saying that if you aim at the moon, even if you miss, you'll be among the stars. You know that, right? You know that saying, right? So
Yeah,
aim for the moon. Don't aim for the stars. For the moon, aim for. This is how much I'm gonna be learning rules like at that level, so that even when I miss, I'll be among. Cause what I'm saying, there are 28 questions on the rules, right? The total questions that we have to pass, right? But the minimum pass mark is 23. So if you get less than that, you fail. If you get less than that, you fail. That's where people are saying. That means the stars is the minimum. The moon is that 28. So your preparation, the way you attend these lives and everything, be in a way that you are aiming for that 28. So that if you miss 28, you'll be on 27 or 26, stuff like that. You get it? You will be among
yeah, I see what you mean.
yeah.
But what I noticed while I was doing it, I actually got full marks for the signs and the controls.
Yeah. Yeah,
But
most people
when I
pass.
was doing the rules,
Yeah.
I won't like. I think like there was like 7 or 8 questions that I've never seen before. But
Yeah.
I passed some of them.
Yeah, that's good. So yeah, you can share that experience, You can share that experience with us to say, yeah, it was one of the questions that um I never seen before. And I'll tell you, okay, this is where it is. Like the theory of it, this is where we cover it, stuff like that. If is that because here what people do here, it's they come just like today. Some people attend these lives twice and then they go and write. Okay? 2 times, just twice, 2 days. Here and here, and then they go and write. According to me, because I teach this material, I know, right? Yes, for someone whom you find that they were already learning and then they did a lot of questions and stuff like that, but they wanted to verify certain things, then that's fine. Those 2 days it's cool. They can come and ask and be like, hey, you know what, this I don't understand. Those people are very clear on which gaps they want to close. Then we close that. Be like, hey, maybe I don't understand the rules when it comes to alcohol, collisions, stuff like that, and then we cover that, we are fine. But for someone who doesn't have an idea at all about which material they should cover in this, then 2 days for them it's not enough. 2 days you'll find that they'll focus on covering all the recordings, but they will never have an opportunity for me to assess them. They can go there to the app and cover the recordings, and then they cover all of those recordings. They go and write. Those recordings are good. It's just the understanding, right? And this slide is where I test whether you really did understand
Yeah, that's
what I
true.
spoke about there. Those recordings are good. That's why most people do pass with them alone. But I'm just talking about the few who fail, even when they've watched them. What other materials that are provided in this group that they are not using? Is this live session? They are not using this. This is a very powerful thing, to have someone to assess you whether you understand certain things now before you even go and write. It's amazing. So, but people, they barely attend this. I understand you guys are busy, but I'm just saying.
Yeah, I just come to join when I need some clarification on some things I've done.
Yeah. So, but you see the
I
problem there.
actually found this app.
Mm, the problem with maybe
I
not
found
attending.
yes.
Yes, Ken, I'm listening.
I actually found this other app because when I was doing the test on the Simply Drive test,
Mm.
some of the questions they don't really shuffle between all the questions in the K53. It shuffles only the multiple choice, like the same questions, but it shuffles the way they ask it. And I came across this other app. I think it's called K53 something. It actually has it gives you a test for either the whole book, or you can get a test based on only rules or only science.
Yeah.
And I found a lot more different questions there.
Yeah, that's amazing, cause that's what we're busy with. You'll see, you probably, maybe if you're still here on the group, right, next year in 2025, me and the development team, that's what we've
Yeah,
been working on. You see this thing that we are assessing here. Um, it will be the app to improve it such that you no longer need me, you know, for assessing. So the app is gonna do that. It's one of the things that we're busy working on since I think last month. Yeah, late last month. But now, yeah, it's under implementation. It will be live next year. You'll see it will be way more powerful than the existing apps, because it will be, I'm taking what I'm teaching, what have been working in terms of what I teach, and then we are trying to implement it under that in the app now, fully there. It must, cause like I said, some people don't have time to attend these things. You see, so if it's the app that's doing that, you can do it at
yeah,
any time. It will fully assess you. It will fully assess you. All right, yeah. So let's continue. Huh? Let's continue. It is very important, guys. Aim for the moon, please. Aim for the moon. Ask questions. I always, if you don't understand something in a, in those apps, like the app that's good, it's the blue K53. If there's something that you don't understand, there, I am there to say, "Aye, nah, this not, it's not fine." All right. this is fine, this is not fine, this is fine, stuff like that. But I normally say do other apps after you have done with the simplified drive app, and then you are perfect with what we are asking so far. And then you can do these other ones for more questions because they have more material. Do that and see whether you can apply these things that we are teaching here. Can you, when they are being asked, can you apply them? If you don't understand, you come take a screenshot, more it on the WhatsApp group. Say, I don't understand this. Like for example, that blue app of K53 is good. Even though it's good, it still have errors. You see, you'll never know the errors if you didn't cover the theory. Right? When you cover the theory of this, you'll see that, yeah, man, we said when a command sign is like this it means the minimum going up, you know, stuff like that. Why is this like this? And I'll tell you this is an error. This stuff like that. But for someone who doesn't do theory, right, they don't cover these things, they never see those. They are just cramming A, B, and C. At the department, you'll find a more refined question, you know, because that one, it's there are many people who have been checking it. So before they approved any question, so those questions, they are straight. All right, so let's move on. Let's move on, guys. Let's continue. Let's see. We are on length restrictions, right? Length restrictions. How about height, Tapelo? How about height? What are the height restrictions? It's an abnormal vehicle.
I'm not sure, but then the ones I will definitely tell you about. When it comes to any other motor vehicle,
yeah,
the height shouldn't exceed 4.3 meters.
Yeah, that's correct.
And then when it comes to what you can say that, for example, a double-deck bus,
yeah,
the height shouldn't exceed 4.65 meters.
Amazing. Amazing, guys. Yeah, amazing. So yeah, when it comes to height, that's the rules there, right? When it comes to height, any other vehicle you spoke about it, any shouldn't exceed this. And for a double deck, this is how much. So those were the standards, right? Those were the standards. Let's continue. When you know that, you're fine. Leo. Now let's talk about
yes.
more like these ones. I call them general rules because they are more like general kind of rules, right? So they apply for any type of a vehicle, stuff like that, right? So it has nothing to do with heavy or what. So for example, under general rules, we'll say your lights of the vehicles, they must work proper, your handbrake must work, everything, every controller must work there, you know. So those are general. We don't say for light or what, they must that. So yeah, general rules there. But one of the most important one is this one about the turning radius, right? When cars or vehicles are turning, there's a maximum radius that they can turn. What is that radius, Leo?
When turning.
Yeah, when turning, they, you know, we know cars when they turn, they make this some sort of arc or radius, right?
Oh yes.
You want the radius from the center, yeah. What's that radius? Yeah, Tapelo, noted. I'll come back to you.
Is it not 180 degrees? No.
You see, degrees are angles. Yeah, we are measuring angles. And we are talking about radius. Tapelo?
I just wanted to say the radius of the vehicle, it shouldn't exceed 13.1 meters.
Yes. The radius of the vehicle shouldn't exceed 13.1 meters. Guys, did you hear that? So for any type of a vehicle, in order for it to operate on the road, it must have a radius that's less than that. It doesn't matter whether we are talking about a Bajaj or we are talking about what. The radius must be less than that, right? At the turning radius, it should be less than that. I want to show you something, right? You know, here we have amazing materials, guys. Under each section that you cover here, we have this study material, right? And these are documents that you can download. These documents are, you know, K53. It's a standard that a lot of countries they follow. Like for example, we can say Namibia, Botswana, stuff like that, right? But for specific rules that apply for South Africa, these documents, they are South African, right? Therefore, the ones that we follow here, there are certain things that on the K53 you find that they are not there, but here they will be here. I don't know if you get what I'm saying. It's an extension for this country. So make sure that you do follow that. So in the recordings, this is the documents that we are using for study. You can even go there. It's just that I decipher, right? I choose certain questions that come the most, right? So if they come the most, but here is where you get to learn all of the rules, all of them. So the 13.1, for example, the one that we are talking about, you'll also find it here. Is there a question? Someone raise their hand. Yes, Kian.
I was thinking now about the questions that actually gave me trouble, and it was the ones I've never seen.
What?
I think they asked me like the questions that I was speaking about earlier on, the ones that I've never seen before.
Yeah.
I remember it was like four of them, and they asked it in the same way. They said like the question was like, which one of these statements are true?
Okay.
Those are the ones that caught me.
So you couldn't apply because that's an application of the rules, yes. So if they say
I did know like two of them,
you did know two of them,
but the
which
other
are those?
two, the one was when you're parking at the parking bay, I think it's your wheels should not exceed 1 meters into the roadway.
1 meter into the
Yeah,
roadway.
yeah, it
Nope.
was. Yeah, it was that one, I think.
So that one, that means
Was it? I don't know if it was in a parking bay.
yes, it's in a parking bay. When we are parking in a parking bay, but yeah, before I tell you, let's listen to about Tapelo. Tapelo. So if I didn't park properly inside a parking bay, right? The projection of the car into the roadway. What's the measurement there? What's the maximum? Maximum?
It shouldn't be 1 meter
Nope.
from the edge.
Nope. Yeah, it's 1 meter from the edge, right? That one is about the edge. Like when you are parking,
it was that one.
guys, wait. So remember that
Okay, sorry.
1 meter falls where? It falls on when we were talking about where are you not allowed to park or stop, right? We said you can't be parking 1 meter from the edge of the road. unless you are inside the parking bay. Huh? Let me repeat that. You can't be parking 1 meter from an edge unless you are inside the parking bay. So you can't be stopping a meter from that edge unless you are inside a parking bay. Now, but what Tian is asking is not about that. He's saying when you have parked, when you are inside, I'm inside the parking bay, I've parked, but I didn't park proper. So my car is not, parking can be a problem. So I didn't park proper inside that parking bay, right? Inside those markings. So I parked in a way that my wheel, it's into the roadway. It into the road. No, we are not talking about the edge. The edge is this side, right? Meaning I'm going into the roadway. What is the maximum projection from that parking bay? You can't exit this. I don't know if ngizwile manje Thapelo.
Yebo ngikuzwile kodwa
You don't know, ne? You don't know that. Leo. Noted.
Yeah.
I'll come back to you. Yes, Leo.
Can you please repeat the question?
If I'm inside the parking bay and I haven't parked properly, right? So I parked in a way that there's a projection or there's an overlapping into a roadway, right? Ama rules are I can overlap to what extent into the roadway?
From 450 millimeter.
450 millimeter, correct. 450 millimeter. Kian? Kian, you had a hand, yes?
Yes, I actually wanted to correct myself on that one.
So it's 450.
I'm sure of the 450.
You see, 200. So make sure that you understand that don't take the 1 meter of when we say you can't be stopping from Guluwanj of a left edge or shoulder of the road and confuse it with this 450 millimeter. No. Which other question gave you a problem?
Yeah, I understood you on that one. I actually mentioned the question wrong to you. I was actually speaking of the edge. I just forgot how they asked it. I was actually speaking of the edge. That's the one they asked me for.
Why was it new? You said it was one of the new questions. Why was it new? It's not there.
No, the other two.
Okay. What's the other two?
The other two, I can't quite remember, but it had something to do with seatbelts. And 3 of the multiple choice questions were about seatbelts.
Okay.
I'm not too sure about what it was.
Let me give you time to think about them, right? Go to why they gave you a problem. Because you guys, for example, let's make an example, right? We cover one major rule here about seatbelts. It's a major one. It says when you, from the age of 3 years going up, you must wear a seatbelt, right? And me, I ask you, does it matter where you are sitting? And your answer is no, it doesn't matter. Whether I'm sitting at the front or at the back, it doesn't matter. Now, you go to question papers. The question paper, they ask you, can you sit at the back where there's no seatbelt if there's a space that's open in the front for a passenger to sit, and in that seat, there's a seatbelt? They ask you like that, for example. Then what's the answer? You see, you need to really do remember what, no, we said this, and now it's application. No, I can't be sitting there. I must go to that space and wear my seatbelt. Because for everyone who's above this age, they should wear. They told you there's a seat that's vacant. Seat. Can I leave that and stay where there's no seat belt in? You see, but it tests whether you do understand the rules. But let's continue. Kian, think about those questions. If you have remembered them.
Yes, Mr. J. I'll just go write them down once I remember them, or if I see them, then I'll just send you a message.
Cool. So yeah, the turning radius data pelo said 13.1 meters, right? Any vehicle that when it turns, it makes a radius that's more than this, it is not allowed. So a radius times 2, we know that's a diameter if they, but they won't tell, they don't trick you. Sometimes the English, it can be a problem, eh? So they can take that 13.1 and multiply it by 2 to become something, and then they ask you in terms of diameters, you know, but they won't do that. So far, let me not say they won't do that. I'm just saying, so far is something that I haven't seen on the questions. Okay. So 13.1, car must be in good condition. We spoke about this. How about the last one here? Every car, because these are general rules, every car that's operating on the car shouldn't do what? Endanger road users. Right? So that car must be in good condition. It should be in a way that is not causing danger to road users. And here, because this is very broad, these things are just point here and people don't understand what I mean about this. So let's elaborate in more details and look at some examples that could cause danger. Right? It's very hot. I stay in Mpumalanga. Mpumalanga is very hot, and we know that a petrol is one of the flammable gases, right? It's one of the flammable gases. Whenever I pour petrol, that cap that closes that tank there, it's very important, right? Otherwise the car can go, it can bend, right? So it's causing danger to who? To me, everyone who's inside the vehicle and stuff like that. That's an example. It's endangering the driver, because a driver is also a road user, right? Anyone who's using the road. How about the cables that are not properly insulated, right? Where we connect the cables, we know the car has cables that are controlling these lights and everything, right? And we join those cables somewhere. How about those? They must be properly insulated, you know. The car, the engine of the car, I can't have an engine exposed to abantu, because an engine, for example, when it's hot, what if someone leans on that car, you know? That's why we have a cover for it and stuff like that. Hey, am I making myself clear here on this point?
Yes, you are, sir.
You see, that's endangering a road user. So any car that poses a threat in terms of this, then it shouldn't operate on the road. It shouldn't operate.
And
yeah.
Before you move on, when I wrote, there's a question. I don't know if people know it, but then I just want to put it out there. And they repeated it twice.
Yeah.
Where it said they were asking in a true or false way.
Okay.
But then people need to make sure that they remember that a light or heavy motor vehicle that is used in a public road, it's a must that it has to be equipped with a service brake, a parking brake, and also an emergency brake. That question, I saw it more than once.
Yeah, of course. We according to this, a car must be in the right conditions, right? Those things, they should operate. Your lights should operate. It falls under this. Point number 2. Ama lights kumele operate, ama service brake, ama brakes wakho kumele abrake kahle. Your handbrake must work, you know, all of these things that are meant to help you ukuthi ungabi in accident. Of course, a car when it comes out from when you buy it, right, it has all of these things that are needed because of standards, right? It has all of these. You don't have these, for example, your lights are there to help you when it's dark so that you see, right? Normal lights, they are there for that. But there are those lights, afana nama fog lights that you add you on yourself, right? They don't come from the dealership, wherever you bought the car, right? Now these are the extras. We are not talking about those. Here when we say the car condition, everything there. Now there is just the application of the rules of remembering those things. But oh yeah, my image handbrake must work. This thing must work. This, that, all of those things. Because when we cover the rules, now we summarize it here.
Before you move on, can you clarify something for me? Because I think this question is the gave me a problem.
Yeah.
I can't remember it, but then it had something to do with spot lamps.
Yes.
So
spot lamps is one of those lights that you put here.
Okay.
Yeah, spot lamps is one of those lights that you put. Now I'm not sure, but I want to answer based on what you are asking me.
Yeah.
Yeah. You do remember what was it about spot lamps so that I can help you under that and then give you more if it's not?
No, I don't remember, but then there was a question like that.
Yeah, so spot lamps are the lights that you put, right? So those ones, they are not the lights lazy eskulumanga city every vehicle must have, right? Now, since these are the lights that you put when we must have a restriction, right? We must have a restriction because people will have what? Will have lights that are doing funny things. Will have lights that are too, yeah, like that are doing certain things. So we must have restrictions. So what are those restrictions? Is that when you put a spot lamp, for example, the type of a spot lamp, it mustn't change like direction, for example. It must, the beam of the light should
all right.
stuff like that. So they shouldn't do funny things. When can you also use them? So we must have restrictions. I can't drive my vehicle with spot lamps, like relying on spot lamps for me to see. No, because spot lamps they can be brighter than the normal lights, you know. We set a dim light that comes with a car must not exceed 45 meters and above, you know, because that's a normal one that you use. Every car follows that standard. Whenever you come with your spot lamp and then you want to use that for showing the road, no. So you only maybe use it if there are no other cars in front of you, stuff like that, to say,
or maybe we could say also we can use it when it comes to ambulances, fire truck.
Yeah, emergency vehicles there.
Okay.
Those are emergency lights though. Yeah, those are emergency lights. To say, okay, for my emergency lights, these are the type of vehicles that they can use. Those kind of lights. Which type of lights in terms of color, now they can use. But now we are just talking, besides emergency lights, these other spot lamps. Whenever you can't have emergency lights, by the way. Unless you are running that company, emergency, right? You are running a security company, for example, or towing companies and stuff like that, right? But when an ordinary driver, they can put spot lamps, not emergency lights. But these spot lamps, they have restrictions on how they should light on the road or when to use them, stuff like that. So the rules there about that. Are we
Okay.
together there?
All right. Okay. Thank you.
All right. All right. Cool. Let's move on. Let's move on. Let's see. So yeah, emergency vehicles. Emergency vehicles. Leo, which rules ekumele swazi about ama-emergency vehicles? China as some normal drivers. I think I just mentioned one right now, right? About their lights, right? That you can't be using their lights. What else, Leo?
We should give the right for them to pass.
Magwenzenja.
If the Bakalisa ama
Siren and yeah.
yeah,
So in
Masari.
short, when they are on duty, right? When they are showing you that they are on duty, when they are signaling you that hey, Pela now we are on duty, then that's where we give them right of way. Not duty when they are just driving, going to put a vehicle there now, meaning by shifted. Are we together?
Yes.
We only shift, we give them right of way when they are on duty. When they say hey, and then how do you see that? They will normally have a siren or have those emergency lights on to say, hey, we are on duty, we are attending a serious thing. Yeah. Yeah, amazing there. Let me see. Elena Driver. Kian, Elena Driver. As Elena Driver, which rules should you know?
You should be accompanied by a person that's licensed with a driver's license.
With the person, yeah, it should be. That's a most important one, right? Should be accompanied by someone who has a driver's license. Let me ask you follow-up question now. Does it matter which type of license do they have? Or as long as they have a license, they can accompany you.
Yes, it does matter. It has to be a driver's license.
Yeah, I'm saying as long as they have a driver's license, they can accompany you. It doesn't matter what type of a vehicle you are driving or when you are preparing to have. For example, when you are trying to learn for code 14, right? Trying to learn for code 14. But me, I have code
Which is
14.
a heavy motor vehicle. Is it you talking about heavy motor vehicle, right?
Yeah, I'm talking about this person who's accompanying, right? Which license should they
Yes.
possess? Does it matter? Or it doesn't? They are no limit. As long as they have a license, they can.
It does matter for the type of vehicle that you are in.
It does matter, right? So you must be accompanied.
Yes.
So let's add it to your statement. Let's put it right now. Let's put it full. You must be accompanied by someone who has a driver's license, but that person, that license should what? It should qualify them.
It should match the.
It should qualify them to drive that motor vehicle. Tapelo, you have a question?
No, but then I just wanted to add to that statement.
Okay.
If you have a learners, the person who's sitting next to you on the passenger seat should have the let's say I have a learners of a code 14. The person on the passenger seat, the license also must be a code 14 license.
Correct.
Mhm.
It should qualify them. It should qualify them. They were, when I say, you know why I use the word it should qualify them to drive that type of a vehicle, because I'm trying to avoid this. For example, if when now you have code 8, right? the learners that you are doing is for code 8. Here's a question. Me, I have code 10 as a driver's license. Can I accompany you? Yes or no?
You have a code 10.
I have a code 10. When
Then
Learners is code 8.
no.
Ken, what do you think?
I say the same.
Hmm? You say no. Leo, what do you think?
I do. Okay.
Uphinde lapha nigcineni angizwanga kahle.
So the person who has a learner's, right? This
Yes.
learner's yaga code 8, right?
Yes.
But the person who's accompanying this one on a code 10 license, driver's license.
Yeah.
Can that person accompany this one?
I think no.
Let me ask it like this. All right, I see all of you said no. That's why I'm saying that license must qualify the person to drive that type of a vehicle. Now, is someone with code 10 qualified to drive code 8? Or I must go back near 30 license ka code 8 if you can drive code 8, a light motor vehicle. Leo? Tapelo? Yes. So when
You
I
have a code 10.
code 10 license,
Uh-huh.
can I drive a light motor vehicle? Am I allowed?
Could you provide examples? For example, yes, you have a code 10. Are you asking, are you allowed to drive, for example, let's say a motorcycle?
If you are talking about a motorcycle, we are talking about a totally different thing. Let's leave
All
motorcycle.
right.
Let me take an example. I have a code 14 license. Can I drive a car with my code 14 now?
Yes, you can.
You see what I mean? So you find that when we go down, right? The more we go up with these licenses, it means you are qualified for the things that are below, right?
Okay,
It means you can accompany the person who's doing anything here underneath. You are qualified to drive that type of a vehicle. That's what I mean when I say you are qualified to drive that type. So someone with a code 10 can accompany someone who's doing code 8, but they can't accompany what? Someone who's doing what? Code 14. Stuff like that. I hope now we are clear, right? On that. Let's move on. Any questions? All right, I'm moving on. Whoa. Let me see what. Okay, rules. Whenever we are turning on the intersections, Tapelo, whenever we are turning at the intersections where the road meets, which rules should we obey or follow them?
When you're turning right or left?
It doesn't matter. You can tell us that when we are turning left, you can start with left, go to right, stuff like that.
Let me use right.
You tell us about the rules then.
Because first and foremost, obviously, you have to use your indicators in time to signal in time.
Yes.
In which direction?
I'm turning left or right, right?
It
doesn't matter. So I must signal in time. I must show my intentions in good time, yes?
Nearing an intersection now, you have to yield, especially on a two-way road, and you want to turn right. You have to yield to oncoming traffic. Or also, again, if you already find pedestrians there. They have the right of way. You have to yield for pedestrians before turning.
When I'm turning right only. Does that
No, no, even left.
yeah, I'm hearing you saying you remember the part you said when you are turning right, you must yield to oncoming traffic, and this is a very most important important rule. Whenever we are turning right, people tend to forget it. When we are turning right, we should always yield to oncoming traffic. All right.
Yes.
But yeah, for other ones, it's I must yield to our pedestrians whenever we are turning. Yes, that's correct.
And also before, especially let's say you want to turn left and you're in the right lane.
But by the way, I just want us to discuss the previous one further, because
Okay.
someone might not understand. The one about yielding for pedestrians whenever I'm turning right? So, or right or left, it doesn't matter. There we are talking about which pedestrians? The pedestrians that already crossed the road, or the pedestrians that are outside?
The pedestrians you find already in the road. You have
Already,
to give
yeah,
them
crossing, right?
yeah.
True. All right, yeah, continue.
So you have to give them right of way. Then let's say you're in the right lane and you're at the end at the intersection, you want to turn to the left. Obviously, as I said, you have to signal in good time that you want to change lanes. And also the final thing you need to do before you even do that is also you check your blind spot.
I'm checking my blind spots.
Mm. Before you even, let's say you want to change from the right to the left hand side, you
Yeah, those
also
I'm normally on rules when it comes to changing lanes. Now I'm just focusing on when we are turning, you know, when we are turning, not changing lanes. When we are turning.
no, but then when
So
you're
that one
tuning, the
falls.
ones that
The
I
one for
just
blind spot falls under changing lanes. Mm.
but then as I said, the ones that I remember, you just have to yield to oncoming traffic or the pedestrians you find already crossing the road.
Correct. All right. So yeah. Thank you, Tapelo. There. Kian, can you add the ones that Tapelo left out? Whenever we are turning.
On in an intersection.
Yes.
You got kind of breaking up right now. But can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you clearly.
I do remember mostly those ones that you said, especially the one of oncoming traffic. Um,
So you can't remember
I
any
think there's
that
one that
Tapelo left out.
I think I remember one
Mm-hmm.
that if you want to turn left or right, you should only do so when you have the right of way,
Yeah.
and you can only do so I don't without endangering other vehicles.
Yeah. If you are not
Yeah.
endangering other road users, that's what Tapelo was saying. Like, if I'm turning, I have to yield if the people who are who are already crossing the road. Then it falls under that. Um, but I think what's most important,
Oh, okay.
another one is I should do it if I'm not going to block the road. Right? It's one of the basics.
Yeah, it's that one.
It's a big. So it's one of the basics there to say, even if the robot is telling you, remember the robot can be saying, people are turning right, they have right of way, right? But you find it, as soon as I move from here, I try to turn there, I'm going to block the road for the other people. So it means, even though the signal is saying that I can't be moving, because this rule says you should do that by, if you are not going to block the road. All right, you'll find, those stress traffic, like, so you need to allow that space there, people to. So do that if you are not blocking the road. Leo, what are other ones? Leo? I'll leave you there. All right. So, yeah. So let me put them right. Let me put them in an understanding order that you can follow, right? So the first one is, indicate your intentions in good time. Doesn't matter whether I'm turning left or right. Just make sure you indicate your intention in good time. Second is, move as close to where you want to turn, right? If I'm turning left, move closer to the left. Turning right, closer to the right, as close as possible, right? Now, after you have turned, make sure that you adjust into the traffic flow, right? How cars are moving there. That's a rule. Cars that are moving on a freeway, they won't be traveling the same way on an ordinary road, right? So adjust. So if the minimum speed today is 40 kilometers per hour, make sure that you travel at that. Adjust to the traffic flow. Lastly, it's make sure that you kill the indicator switch if it didn't do that after you have turned, right? Automatically, normally when you return your steering wheel, it must kill the indicator switch, right? So that it doesn't keep on indicating. So if it didn't, do it manually, kill it, so that you are no longer indicating. So those ones were the rules that apply whether we are turning left or right. It didn't matter. For the exception, when we are turning right, make sure that you yield to the oncoming traffic on a two-way road. It only applies on a road that has oncoming traffic, this one, right? I make sure that I yield. But if it's a one-way road, I can turn right. Doesn't matter. But if it's a two-way road, or it has oncoming traffic, yield to it. All right. Other than that, we spoke about the basics. The basics is, do not block the road as you are turning there, and do not endanger our road users. All right. So yeah, those were the rules whenever we're turning left, right. I think the last one here, there, at that intersection there, make sure that you obey our mandatory direction arrows, right? So make sure that you follow them. When that arrow is telling you turn left. Do not proceed straight. Follow those mandatory direction arrows accordingly. We know that you can't be changing lanes, right? You can't be changing lanes in those mandatory direction arrows. Just obey exactly what they are saying. And yeah, that's it. You know that. I think you are fine with the rules. Whenever we are turning. Are we together?
Yes.
Yes.
Let me see now. Now let's talk about Tapelo.
Yes.
Whenever we are parking, which rules should we know? When we park our vehicles, which rules should we know?
The first one I think I already mentioned. I'm saying the first one I think I already in that time when I said You shouldn't park what you call this within 1 meter of the edge.
Yeah. But in that one, it's remember
Oh, okay.
we said unless you are inside the parking bay. Now, when you are inside the parking bay, I can park 1 meters from the edge of the road. So I'm asking you about the rules that apply when we are inside that parking. Or that are related to that, yeah. How about this? Let me give you a clue. When I'm in an urban area, how long can I park my vehicle in that parking bay?
When you are within the urban area,
Yeah, I mean urban areas. How long can I park my vehicle in that parking bay? Can I put it for 3 months?
7 days.
7 days
It's
maximum.
7. Yes. Then if it's outside an urban area, it's 24 hours.
If I'm outside urban area, it's 24 hours. Yes. Yeah. So I think those are the most important ones. Of course, the other ones now it will be what? What will be the other ones? Other rules, Kian? About parking?
When you're parking, I know the one of it's not compulsory to wear a seatbelt. I don't
Correct.
know if that counts.
Correct. It's not compulsory to wear our seat belts there, right? Whether moving in to that parking bay or out of it, it's just not compulsory to wear a seat belt. All right. So yeah, the vehicles that don't follow these rules, right? These vehicles, whenever they are on the road, they will be considered as abandoned vehicles, and yeah, they can be impounded or towed by the traffic police, right? But traffic police, they can either take them, right? So those are it's the vehicles that are breaking these rules. For example, if I put my vehicle there in an urban area, I park for 2 weeks, which is 14 days, then it will be considered abandoned. But it doesn't have to be just rules that are related to parking. It's just rules in general, like, you know, rules like if we put fake number plates, that's an abandoned vehicle, right? If we park at the entrance where stopping and parking is not allowed, that's an abandoned vehicle, right? Are we together? So yeah, I was just summarizing the part of abandoned vehicles. Which ones are those? All right, yeah, I think that's it. I think that's it. We have covered all the rules. I think let me repeat this one. It's most important rule. It's that you should always travel on the left hand side on a two-way, right? Make sure that you travel towards the left to avoid collisions. That's the most important rule. Do we have another one here? Traffic officers' instructions, they supersede everything that we study here on the rules. So they supersede the rules, they supersede the signs, markings and signals. So what a traffic officer says, it always goes. And yeah, that's it. That's it. That's it, guys. Any questions? Yes, Ken.
Um, I was thinking of one of those questions about today. There was one about, you remember the one where it's not compulsory to have your
Ken, we
light
have done
switched
one
on
minute
from a
before the
certain
meeting ends.
distance.
Ken, We have less than 1 minute
Yeah, it's a
before the
quick
meeting
question.
ends. I think you can ask it on the WhatsApp group, no problem. We'll answer it. Other than that, good people, have an amazing
Okay,
night.
I'll do so.
Tomorrow we will do a question papers. Let's see if you can apply these things. All right.
Okay, I'll send it now. Thanks,
All
Master
right.
D.
All right, sharp game.